dito mismo sa City Hall, kung saan inaantabayanan yung pagdating ni Presidente. Kaya yung ilan dun sa mga residente ay lumipat sila dun sa mga areas na malayo dun sa mga gusali. Ang pagdating ng Pangulo at ang pamamahagi ng relief goods ang ipinunta ng mga residente. Pero tila nainip na ang maraming madaling araw pa lang nakapila na. Lampas tanghalian na dumating ang Pangulo, di kasi agad nakabiyaya ang chopper niya dahil maulap. Agad siyang namahagi ng relief goods at cash assistance sa mga nawalan ng tirahan. Nangako rin siya ng tulong pinansyal.
Dawata ang akong kasing-kasing pagbati kaninyo sa inyong kagool. Labi na gyud sa namatyan. Goal kay ko to tibok adlaw gahapon gusto na kong gusto kong matanaw unsa gyoy mga danyo sa infrastructure o katauhan. Kaluoy sa Diyos, nilibot ko kadiyot, kinag-helicopter man ko, dili man yun ingong sama sa akong nakita ngadto sa Tacloban ni atong Yolanda.
Talaga kailangan mabilis ang mga pagtulong. Ayaw niya ng mga delay na hindi kailangan, lalo na sa panahon nito ng sakuna.
Sa tala ng NDRRMC, 6 patay sa lindol, 4 sa kanila kilala na. Sa Surigao del Norte, mahigit 1,000 bahay ang napinsala, mahigit 100 sa mga ito ang nawasak. Napinsala rin ng 5 tulay, 12 paaralan, ilang kalsada at ospital. Agad daw pasisimula ng rehabilitasyon. Pinayuhan din ng mga residente na huwag papasok sa mga gusali hanggat hindi pa tapos ang pagsusuri ng DPWH.
Nagpadala na kami ng mga structural engineers para ma-assess kung kailangan ano yung status ng mga structures na na-damage during on the way na sila. Maraming pinadala na namin dito galing sa central, galing sa regional offices. Naglalagay na kami ng mga road warning signs lalo sa mga bridges, which is only possible to light vehicles. So pag heavy vehicles, wag na munang duman sa mga national bridges na na-identify.
Pia Jiggy, malinis na maiinom na tubig, pagkain at construction materials ang ilan lamang sa mga pinakakailangan sa ngayon ng mga Surigao noon. Umiiral na dito sa Surigao City yung price freeze. Sakop niyan yung mga pangunahing bilihin at mga gamot.
Basically, you know what, he made many of the people here wait for about 3 hours because originally the event was scheduled to start at 10:30, but he came in around 1:30. Then, he spoke mainly in the vernacular. He spoke in the Bisaya, expressing his sympathy for the many of especially of those the families of those who died in the quake, and also he also expressed sympathy for those who lost their homes as well as for whose many buildings were destroyed. Basically, he also made a comparison on how the quake also was in 2013 in Cebu and Bohol. He said, and compared to these two provinces, mas maliit raw in his words, mas maliit daw yung damages dito, but still. He came here to see to it that the line agencies are responding to the needs of the affected residents. Well, despite the 3-hour wait, some of the residents here were here as early as 6 a.m. The president has to stay for just less than about 20 minutes to give his speech. He had to leave immediately because he was told by staff that the weather is not good here in Surigao, and he's flying by a chopper, so he needs to leave early. So he was saying that he will be coming back in the next few days again to speak to the residents here and check on the rehabilitation as well as the relief that are being distributed for residents here. He also made a statement criticizing mining companies here. We need to double check exactly what he said because that was delivered in the Bisaya in Bisaya. But basically, from what we understand, he criticized companies. He said that are mining companies that are destroying the environment, and that he would not allow these companies to continue to operate. He was encouraging people here to resort to agriculture, including perhaps the planting of the rice as well as trees such as rubber and coffee, which he said could also deliver livelihood 4 people here. He basically came up with those statements criticizing mining companies because he flew over from Butuan City, Butuan Airport to Surigao. So basically he saw how much destruction these mining companies had caused to the environment here in Surigao. Mike?
David, let's talk about the situation there in Surigao City. Although power has been restored already, I understand that water supply is a problem still. What is the local government doing about that?
Yes, we've been trying to get the local government, perhaps exactly, in fact, we've been trying to reach to the local water utility company here, but unfortunately, we had to cover the event of the president. But basically, the feedback that we're getting is that they have been attempting to bring back the supply of water here in Surigao City, at least here in Surigao City as of midnight last night. But that, well, obviously did not happen. We saw a lot of people coming out of their homes this morning, bringing containers, water containers, hoping to find sources of water. They've been complaining about this because it's been 2 days, and this for them, sabi nila, it's better to not have electricity, but they cannot go on without water because they need this for cooking, they need this for washing, they need to take a bath, they need to drink water, of course. So basically, that is a main concern. It is a good thing, though, that there are some good residents here who have opened their homes. These are residents who have water pumps, who are now distributing water in behalf of the government. The government cannot provide, as of the meantime, to provide water for residents here. So many of the some of the homes here that have water pumps are offering free water. But we understand also, Mai, that the local government is trying to contact adjacent provinces and cities so that they can provide fire trucks that can deliver water to residents here. Again, my water is very much a concern here in Surigao City.
All right, thank you. David Santos, our senior correspondent.
My aftershocks continue to jolt Surigao City as rescue and rehabilitation efforts are expected to go on full swing with President Duterte's visit this afternoon. And tonight, more people pleading for help as government agencies move to address their primary concerns, including the water supply and safety of damaged homes and buildings. President Duterte was scheduled to speak before the people of Surigao City at 10 Sunday morning. Some of the residents were inside the auditorium as early as 6 a.m. As they waited, a couple of aftershocks happened, strong enough to send them to panic. This woman said her prayers crying.
Surigao, Lord, ayaw yung tao nito, God.
Emergency and rescue personnel present had a tough time urging people to calm down.
Kami linog, para palagi na lamang naglindol. Wala na mo, matira, lalo na nagsira ang bahay namin.
The trauma brought about by Friday's massive quake is evident, especially among the elderly.
Okay naman, sir, pero gigotom yun ko, sir.
This woman says she hasn't had a decent meal since she cannot cook inside her home, fearing it may collapse. Others remain restless but are exhausted.
Wala kaming tulong na mabuti, sir, kasi many nervous na kami sa yung bahay namin pa ganyan. Hindi na kami makakit sa bahay dahil pa umakyat kami. Parang natatakot na ako.
Calamity victims, especially those whose relatives died in the quake, are hoping to get not only relief packs, but also other types of government assistance. Merlin Neludo, whose husband Grobert was killed after falling off from a building, is uncertain how she can send her 3 children to school.
Hindi ko alam kasi sinanay ako ng asawa ko na siya lang talaga magtrabaho. Kaya yun, ang hirap.
After about 3 hours of waiting, President Duterte arrived along with some of his cabinet members. He expressed his sympathies and also made jokes, perhaps to lighten the mood inside the hall. But he had to shorten his speech, lasting for less than 20 minutes since bad weather could hamper his chopper ride back to his next destination. The city government is asking an initial funding of about 70 million pesos for relief and rehabilitation. New People's Army rebels have declared a localized ceasefire in the region as the military also shifts its mode of operations to recovery efforts. Since power has been restored in most areas, water supply is now the primary concern.
They are doing their best na ma-restore. Probably at this time, nasa 50% na na-restore na. There are different companies na nag-donate nag-donate ng bottled water.
The Public Works Department is allocating an initial 280 million pesos to repair destroyed roads and bridges.
Well, immediately depende sa project kasi yung bridge siyempre matagal, medyo mahaba yung construction time ng bridge. But pipilitin din namin matapos kaagad yung roadworks may repair din. Yung bridges, yung minor repairs kaya naman namin.
Now, public engineers are continuously assessing the damage and structural integrity of several public and private buildings here in Surigao City. Some of them will have to remain closed until inspections are made to ensure public safety.
David, aside from the problem of water supply and the damaged structures, what other concerns are quake victims facing?
Well, there is no problem yet on food supply, but many residents here in Surigao City are hoping to receive food packs from the government. About an hour ago, we saw a huge crowd of people gathered outside the City Hall waiting for word if the agencies are going to distribute relief goods. Now, they waited for about an hour only to be told that the relief packs will be distributed in their barangays instead. Now, we're not sure how much or how many percent of Surigao City are in need of relief packs, but you must remember that a poverty incidence is high in this region. So when a calamity strikes, such as Friday's quake, we can expect a significant part of its population needing government help in terms of food supply. Now, it's a good thing, though, that major highways and national roads connecting this area to other parts of Mindanao were not affected by Friday's quake. Now, we can expect a steady stream of food supply to come in, especially relief goods that will either come from Davao or Cagayan de Oro.
Thanks, David. Our senior correspondent.
Makakausap natin sa linya ng telepono si Philippine Volcanology and Seismology o PBOX Director Renato Solidum. Ngayong gabi para alamin natin ang latest at iba pang mga kaganapan dyan sa lindol sa Surigao del Norte. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Director Solidum.
Magandang gabi din po sa inyo.
Joseph Parapina po, kumusta na kayo? Bakit po napakalakas yata ng tumamang lindol na ito sa Surigao del Norte? Paka-update kami, Mr. Director.
Well, yung lindol po kagabi, magnitude 6.7, actually ito yung mas mababa sa aming inaasahang posibleng lindol dyan po sa Philippine Fault Surigao segment. At ang aming nakikita dyan, kung sakaling mga mahigit magnitude 7, no? So 7.4 po ang posibleng mangyaring magnitude. Ang intensity na maximum na makikita natin sa Surigao del Norte ay intensity 8. Kagabi po ang maximum na nakita natin ay intensity 7. Kaya po concentrated yung damage sa Surigao City. Sa ilang mga bayan sa paligid nito, palagay ko may konting damage pero hindi na po masyadong significant.
Sa pangyayari pong ito, posible po bang masundan pa ng tinatawag na magnitude 6.7 na lindol na yan at mga aftershocks sa limbawa, posible bang umabot pa ng Marso tulad po ng mga napapareport?
Well, wala po tayong sinasabi kung anong buwan posibleng mangyari. Pero base po sa ating experience at dito kalakas na magnitude, posible pa pong magkaroon ng mga aftershocks, mga days up to several weeks po, no? At ang ating kita, yung posibilidad na magkaroon ng kahalintulad na magnitude ay hindi natin maaalis, pero ang probability ay mababa.
Alam namin na issue na kayo ng mga paalala, babala at iba pa, pero sa mga oras na ito po ba mayroon pa kayong bilin sa ating mga kababayan, particular sa mga lugar na inabot ng lakas ng lindol?
Ang particular po nating sasabihin ngayon ay patungkol dun po sa mga affected communities. Alam po natin na ang mga paglindol, ang nakakamatay talaga yung pagbagsak ng mga bahay o gusali o mga piraso nito. Either makamatay o maka-injure. So ang kailangan pong gawin, ang mga tao ay maging cautious at tingnan ng mabuti kung ang mga bahay po sa area may visible signs ng damage at kausapin ang mga municipal or city engineers. Kailangan din na mga engineers sa local government, government organizations, and even professional organizations na mag-inspect ng mga buildings at infrastructure para malaman kung gaano pa siya katibay, pwede pa bang gamitin at magbigay ng corresponding action sa mga or suggestions sa mga grupong apektado o individual na apektado. Pangalawa, dapat ding tingnan kung ang mga slopes o mga dalistis ay kung meron itong mga tension cracks na posibleng pong dulot ng pag-uga kasi ito po ay panibagong pagsisimula ng landslides at kaya dapat iwasan ang mga lugar na to. Ang importante, makita po natin na pagpatuloy po ang pagiging ready ng ating mga kababayan kasi po kung isang gusali o building ay meron ng sira, kahit nakatayo pa po ito, ay pwede po itong masira ng mga aftershocks na bahagyan malakas. In fact, mahigit 100 aftershocks na po ang ating na-record since last night. At so far, ang pinakamalakas pong aftershock ay kakaranas lang, alas 5:11, magnitude 4.9 po, no? At naramdaman sa Surigao City ng intensity 5 at intensity 3 sa San Ricardo. So, kung ang intensity ay 5, malakas na po ang pag-uga. So, yung mga nasira na o mahina na mamasali, ay pwede pang madagdagan ang problema.
Paki-update po kami, kumusta naman ang naging responde ng ating mga kababayan nang magpalabas kayo ng tsunami warning sa nabanggit na lugar? Very cooperative po ba sila?
Hindi po kami nagpalabas ng tsunami warning. Hindi po posibleng magkaroon ng tsunami doon sa Lindol kagabi kasi po yung Philippine Fault, Surigao segment, ang kilos niya po ay horizontal. Nagkakaroon lang ng tsunami kung ang kilos niya ay vertical. So, kung po natin, hindi po tayo nagpalabas ng alerto ng tsunami. In fact, ang pinalabas po namin ay no tsunami alert.
No tsunami alert. Okay, sa ngayon po, alam ko nakatutok pa rin kayo sa lugar at kung ano man, ay hingi na lang po kami ng mga updates sa inyo, sa inyong tanggapan, mula ngayon at sa mga susunod na oras. Mr. Director, ano lang po ang inyong mensahe sa ating pagtatapos?
Sa ating mga kababayan, ang importante nakita na natin na biglaan po ang malalakas na lindol. Ibig sabihin, dapat tayo ay ready parate. So ang pagiging ready, matibay, maayos sa mga bahay at gusali. Di ito masisira ng lindol. Pagiging ready ay alam natin kung anong gagawin habang lumilindol. At pagkatapos, pagiging ready, alam natin ang gagawin pagkatapos ng lindol. No? So po, ito po ay paalala na kahit po sa ang lugar sa Pilipinas, except mainland Palawan, posible po magkaroon ng malalakas na lindol. So dapat ready po tayo parati.
Director, pahabol lang, nakatulong ba po yung mga ginagawa natin na mga earthquake drill at iba pang mga paghahanda sa ganitong mga pangyayari tulad po dyan sa Surigao del Norte?
Nakatulong naman kasi kung titingnan natin sa ibang bansa, yung magnitude 6.7 na yan, marami na dapat casualty. So kung konti lang po, no? Although may mga namatay pa rin. Ganun din po yung awareness ng mga tao sa possibility ng tsunami kahit po nagkaroon ng evacuation sila. That's a precaution na sinasabi naman natin na pwedeng gawin ng community. But after ma-notify sila na wala naman pong tsunami mangyari, nagsibalikan naman sila. So therefore, yung awareness and preparedness na ginagawa through NDRMC at ng local government ay malaking na itutulong. So, isang lesson na kailangan pang gawin, magsanay po tayo parati mag-participate sa mga evacuation drill sa lindol at sa tsunami.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Director Solidum. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.